From the studio of WTAP Plus, you're watching Women of the MLV with host Phyllis Smith.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Women of the MLV. I am here with Erin Augenstein. Is that right? Yeah, that's right?
You did it.
I got it.
Congratulations.
I was a little bit nervous, but she runs the Campus Martius Museum in the Ohio River Museum, and she is with me in the studio today. I'm gonna try to broaden out. Oh, there she is. Hello, Erin. How are you?
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining me today. So I know you've been on the news a couple times. Can you, so people have seen you, so can you tell people a little bit more about what you do for the Mid-Ohio Valley?
Sure. I've hopefully been in the news in good ways.
No mug shots.
I don't know. Maybe I don't pay attention to those times.
Erin has a pass. No, I'm just kidding.
Sure. So I currently serve as executive director of the Northwest Territory Museum Society, and we act as the site manager for Campus Martius Museum and the Ohio River Museums in Marietta. Those museums, the buildings and grounds are owned by the state of Ohio, and the Ohio History Connection is responsible for maintaining and artifacts and exhibits. And so our role as site manager is daily operations, programming, gift shop, minor maintenance and repairs, groundskeeping, things of that nature. So pretty much anything anybody sees when they come visit the museum is our organization. And then we also just picked up a new project. We're acting as executive producer of One Boat the Musical. It's a brand new historical musical written by Larry Gross and Todd Burge. And it really tells the story of Rufus Putnam and Ephraim Cutler and a lot of those historical events and people that a lot of our residents know a little bit of something about. And they came to us with that, and it really just fits into our programming, again, our public history programming. So we're acting as executive producer of that.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And where are those museums located in Marietta?
Sure. Campus Martius Museum is at the corner of 2nd and Washington Street, exactly where the Campus Martius Stockade was in 1788. So it's literally the place where it happened. The corner of that stockade, the Campus Martius Stockade, was the Rufus Putnam's house, and it's inside of our museum. So a lot of times people say, "Oh, you're the museum with the house inside of it."
Oh, that's cool.
That's who we are, for sure. And then one block down St. Clair Street at 601 Front Street is the Ohio River Museum. And originally, the Ohio River Museum was sort of in the basement of Campus Martius Museum, and then in 1971, the museum was built as sort of 3 buildings connected with walkways. It was definitely not a 4-season building, and it had some issues being down there in the flood zone. So we're working with partners from Ohio History Connection, us, the Washington County Public Library, the Family History and Genealogy Library will be located inside of it. And the Sons and Daughters of the Pioneer Rivermen. So we're building a new one right now, and every few days, if you drive by, you'll notice, people will say, "Oh, I saw some girders up," or "Oh, the trusses are here, and now the roof is going in," and it's really exciting. So that building is set to open in February of 2027, and then hopefully exhibits in the library will all be moved in by the end of the summer or the beginning of the fall. So we're really hoping to have a grand opening there then.
Yes, so you're going to have one really old building and one
really new building. Yeah.
Really
So
new
yeah, Campus Martius, the museum, the items, the land office and the Rufus Putnam House were built in 1788, but the museum itself was built in 1928. So we're coming up on 2028. That seems so futuristic to me, but it's right there.
Yeah.
So by the time we hit, so this year we've been very heavy into America 250, celebrating all of that. 2027 we'll be opening the new River Museum. 2028 we'll be celebrating 100 years of Campus Martius Museum in our community.
Wow, that's a lot going on.
That's a lot. We have a few things going on.
Yeah. So if somebody comes to Campus Martius Museum, what will they see?
It's interesting because we have the museum's open 7 days a week. We only close for a few holidays.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
and
impressive.
we see about 10,000 visitors every year.
Oh.
And they come from every county in Ohio, every state in the United States, and at least a dozen foreign countries. So people are coming to us from all over the world. Some people are coming because they've read a book, maybe Conrad Richter's The Town, or David McCullough's The Pioneers.
I hear about David McCullough.
Yeah, David's last book before he passed was The Pioneers.
Oh, really?
And he, he wrote a lot of really great, well-respected historical profiles. And he was invited to go speak at Ohio University. I don't know the year exactly, but he thought, well, he'd do a little research before he got there, and he learned about the Northwest Ordinance and the Northwest Territory for the first time. And so after he had given a talk there, he started doing a lot of research in Marietta at our museum. That was before my time, about a year or two before my time, but and at Marietta College in Special Collections with Linda Showalter, and then wrote this really great book, which ended up unfortunately being his last. But yeah, it tells a really important part of history. So there are a lot of people who come to Campus Martius Museum specifically because maybe they did their genealogy and they found out that this line of their family came from New England through Marietta. What's that about?
Yeah.
So it's so most folks when they're coming to the museum, I guess, will see different things depending on what they're there for, right? So if it's a school group coming, we're going to do some programming. They're going to see the house. They're going to see our Conestoga wagon. And then we'll do some programming, like they might make some candles, or we'll talk about wildlife. And then, a lot of local folks are coming to see names that they know. Maybe they found that they have a connection there. And then there's a lot of folks who just come from far away because they know a little bit about our history, or maybe they were dragged there by somebody in the group who's, and they get to pick lunch or something afterward. But we have the Campus Martius Museum has 3 floors. In addition to having the house inside and the land office outside, there are 3 floors of the museum.
Wow.
So yeah, you can easily spend an hour and a half to 2 hours there.
And you probably, do you have like, what is that, kind of like exhibitions that come in and out?
Yeah, we haven't done any touring ones recently. We did it 2 or 3 years ago. We've been curating our own. So currently, through the end of December, we have an original hand-drawn map of Marietta by Rufus Putnam from 1802. Wow. And then we have an entire exhibit around surveying. It's called Mark Well the Land. And not only about like surveying and George Washington and the interest in growing the nation through surveying, but also, there were people who were already living in that area. There were Native American tribes that were there. So we have information on all of that and some really great artifacts.
And do you do summer camps?
We do not do summer camps. A lot of our other historical friends in the region do, and they do it really well.
Yeah.
We are open 7 days a week, and a lot of those places are not. So we try to be really good partners with those organizations and those museums, and not step on each other's toes, but also if someone else is already doing something really great, like the Castle's summer programming is incredible.
Yes.
And their programming year round is absolutely incredible. The work that Scott Britton and Cal Yoho and Wes Clark do is just so great. So there's no need for us to try to replicate something that they do beautifully.
I think the Castle is what I must have been thinking of, because I remember we were trying to say the word archaeological on the air, and all the anchors kept messing it up because it looks crazy. Like,
it does.
Like
I know.
Looks crazy, like written out. Like, it's not hard to say, like, really, but when we saw it in the teleprompter, we were like, what is that?
I'm having the same issue with genealogy because it looks the same as archaeology. And so every now and then I'm stumbling over genealogy. I'll get better at it.
Yes. It's a good example of looking at it before,
Exactly, before you're live.
Yeah, before you're live in front of thousands of people. Yeah. But so do you, how did you get to be in this role? You must like history?
Great question. I do.
Yeah.
I'm a, as I tell people, I'm a museum enthusiast. I have several T-shirts with different variations of museum nerd on it.
Oh, nice.
We stop at lots of museums or go to lots of museums. I actually started off my professional career as a special education teacher, and I worked with students with behavioral and emotional disorders.
Okay.
And so some people right away are like, oh, well, that's goes straight to museum work.
Yeah.
No, not quite.
Yeah.
So I taught for about 10 years. I got my bachelor's and master's in special education, and then our children were born, and No Child Left Behind came through, and a lot of that law changed the alphabet soup, I suppose that you would say, of what students were labeled and what teachers were called, and it was just sort of a little bit of a tumultuous time. And our first daughter was born, so we decided, you know what, maybe I'll just take, and she was born in September, maybe I'll just take this year off. And then I started working with other nonprofits in the area. I grew up in the area, so just kind of kept growing with that. So I worked as advancement director of Parkersburg Catholic Schools for 4 years. My husband and I are both graduates, and now both of our children are graduates.
Oh,
And I taught some at the Parkersburg Arts Center. I taught preschool and summer classes, and I was a tie-dye lady in the summer. My hands were always tie-dye.
oh, cool.
And then I also worked alongside Velma Schrader at Schrader Youth Ballet. So I had danced with her growing up, and I brought
Oh, your
that oldest
ballerina?
daughter. Yeah, I brought that
Yeah.
oldest daughter to her for class, and pretty much right away she's put me to work. So I worked with her for about 13 years. So
Oh,
I had
okay.
all of those, part-time. 3 part-time gigs
Yeah.
actually equals, I think, 4 full-time jobs. I'm not sure
Yeah.
how that works, but
Yeah.
but then social media came into play. It had not been around. Facebook was new, and I was setting up Facebook accounts for business accounts for the groups I was working with, and then I was helping other people. And then somebody said to me one day, you really ought to charge for that. So I kind of took it to heart, and I started my own business. It was called Small Talk. So I did communications and social media for government agencies and elected officials and small businesses in town. A lot of times just helped get them going, but always with that education component. It was like, I'm going to get you started so that you can learn how to do this yourself. So you don't have to rely on me to do that. You can feel independent. And I've been doing that for a few years, and the museums were looking for a new director, and really decided they want to invest in someone who, is well-versed in nonprofit organizations and terminology and language and how to operate a nonprofit, and with a deep connection to the community. And I'm a great culture enthusiast, obviously, arts and culture. So that all sort of came together 4 years. Actually, I think today may be my 4-year anniversary.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, that's crazy that the podcast is
Yeah,
on
I
here.
know. Bring it all
It's fate.
together.
It's fate, yeah. So, can you walk somebody through kind of maybe like what a typical day is like for you? Typical, like air
today's
quotes.
day, or the museum's open 7 days a week, and I am the only salaried employee. Everybody else is hourly. So what that means is that there are some times that maybe someone can't come in on the weekend. They need to come early or late. So I can do some of my, businessy behind the desk stuff on a Saturday for a couple hours, or a Sunday, so that I can spend a lot of my time front facing. So I usually get to the museum, and I answering emails and phone calls and all of that. And then sometimes there'll be some guests that come through that have some questions, or maybe they want a special tour and another staff member's not available. So anytime during the day, you're going to find me every now and then working the front desk, or greeting visitors, or doing interviews. We have a lot of projects going on that are that's why you're seeing, I think hopefully that's why you're seeing me on TV a lot, and not just the other things, but there's a lot of work that goes into that as well. So, and then I'm out in the communities. I'll be at a Rotary Club meeting, or America 250 Ohio meeting. I was at the America 250 Ohio Commission meetings that were held either in Columbus or somewhere else around the state. Down at the River Museum, what's going on down there, taking some pictures, walking around with my hard hat on.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they're only a block apart, so I can get down there pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of different things as director. One of the greatest parts of this job, and I think for a lot of people who act as directors of culture and history and arts organizations, is, I was never the artist or the dancer. I'm not the historian. I don't claim to be the historian. But I get to empower those people to do their jobs, and I get to support them in doing their jobs. So we have several historians on staff in different roles, not always just something that relates directly with history. And they say, hey, we want to do a program, or I was thinking about this, or, can we try this sort of event? And I'm able to say, okay, let's work out a budget. Let's work out a plan. How are we going to fund it? Does it need funded? What supplies do you need? Who's our audience? What's the scope? And then I can help them do the actual history. And then I get to sit back and enjoy part of that as well, too. I'm always learning. I was always very good at school. I'm a good learner.
Yes.
And so I love to be learning things in a way that's not necessarily under pressure. There's not necessarily a test when you learn some new historical information.
Right.
And I love that when our visitors come, for whatever reason they're coming for, that they learn something new, or you can see them. So ask a question and say, oh, so this person was with there, and it was this year, and well, that makes sense. I just love to be around all that learning.
Yes.
So my typical day, I guess, is all over the place.
Yeah. Now, how many people do you have on staff?
We have, there are 4 full-time staff. So there's me, there's our Christy, our director of museum operations. There's John, who's our maintenance guy, and he does all of the things. And Katie, who's our director of events and tourism. So Christy, as director of museum operations, really pays attention to, for the most part, collections and education. And Katie, for the most part, is booking events and booking rentals, our speaker series, programming, things like that. And then we have another 4 part-timers who work the front desk or maintenance in various ways. And then Nancy, our angel office manager, who's also part-time, and she takes great care of us.
Oh, okay. Do you have docents, or is it?
We do. We have a lot of volunteers. So volunteers in our organization do a couple of different things. They can work the front desk. They can provide Putnam House tours. That's where a lot of them do that. And some of them also work with our school groups when they come through. So they'll do the programming for the kids, teaching them how to dip candles or telling them about the Conestoga wagon. We also have some other volunteers who help with like gardening and keeping the grounds well kept. But, for a long time, our organization really only had volunteers in that role of either giving a house tour or working with the school children, which meant that you had to be really confident in your history facts and enjoy talking to people about it. And that's not necessarily everybody's cup of tea. So we're really engaging some more volunteers in front desk work and some of that other work as well. So we have a lot of permanent local residents who are around who will work, because they're retired, so they come in during the week, or maybe they're coming in on the weekends after work. And then we also work a lot with Merida College and their students, whether that's one big day of service or throughout the year working in the front desk. And then we also like to work with other youth groups as well when they're looking to do some
Yeah,
some
a lot
hours.
of community collaboration, sounds like.
Yeah, being open 7 days a week lends us to be able to do a lot of different things. We're very grateful for that.
Yes. Now, are there any facts about Marietta that you find interesting, or maybe like that are kind of niche, people maybe don't know about?
We have a really incredibly well-informed and educated community. There's a lot of folks around here who know a lot about the history, and I think that can be attributed to our Appalachian culture of staying very close to family. The original 48 is what they call the group of guys from Massachusetts and Connecticut that made their way, walked 4 months across Massachusetts and Connecticut and Pennsylvania, and they built a boat and they floated down the river. There were 48 of them in that original crew, and there are thousands of people around the area who can connect directly to them. So I think our oral history tradition helps everybody understand the history around here very well. Yeah.
Yes. And so do you have to do a lot of grant writing being a nonprofit?
I sure do. Do a lot of grant writing. I do fundraising with like local community sponsors and private donors. It's really, I've worked with donors for a long time in a lot of my different roles. And I really enjoy when we have a program that matches up with a private donor's interest, and they can help support what we're doing. It's really great to see how that affects the community. When we have a new exhibit or a new idea for a program, and we can talk to a private donor and say, this is what we want to do, and they ask some questions, we have a conversation, and then we can bring something to fruition because of that. And I think of grant writing the same way. I don't write all the grants to all the organizations all the time. We try to be really strategic about that. So, for instance, we have a new program, some new markers, a new project happening right now. It's called Invisible Ground. Have you heard of Invisible Ground?
I think, did we do a story on that?
You sure did do a story on that.
We did not?
You did, yeah.
Oh,
you did.
I was about to say,
we don't have it yet. You did on the grant, on a
should.
couple of the grants that we received for it.
Okay.
So, working with our friend Brian Costco, he's based in Athens County. He has, I believe right now, 17 or 18 of these markers, but they're AR enabled markers. So you walk up to one of these physical historical markers. There's some information, a name about the place, and then there's a QR code, and you scan the QR code, or when you stand there, you download his app, Find Invisible Ground app, and then you can lift up your phone in front of and see an old image of what was there.
Oh, what it used to look like.
Yeah, and he has a podcast
okay.
as well, so you can, while you're doing that, you can press play and listen to part of the podcast, a snippet of it. He also has the full podcast available as well. So, talking about grant writing and connecting with people and funders, we're hoping for 2 of these invisible ground markers. One to be at the Ohio Land Office outside, so you can see it and see when it was moved. It's moved a couple times to Marietta. We have some old images of that. And then also for the Putnam House. And we had high hopes that we would be able to do at least 2 or 3 others in town, because there were so many opportunities for this.
Yes.
There are so many things in Marietta have been well documented, whether in paintings or photographs or drawings, engravings. So we had hoped for a few more, and every grant that I wrote for this project was funded. And that does not typically happen. Like that's the first time in my life that for a specific project, all of the things that I asked for, they all had similar deadlines. So I just said, well, we'll just try them all. And we ended up getting them all. So we had to have some, difficult conversations with the funders and say, okay, we got this, but we also got this. How can we divide this up? But so we'll have 5 invisible ground markers in Marietta by mid 2027.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one more thing for 2027.
Yeah. I know that I think in DC they were doing that, those invisible ground markers too.
Well, it's maybe something similar. Yeah, Invisible
Yeah.
Ground is Brian Costco, and he's based in Athens County. So
okay.
yeah, so
Oh,
there's a lot of
local.
yeah, it's very local.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he's pretty great, and he's a great
Cool.
historian, and he does a lot of work in programming as well, like public programming with the sites. And he also works with like some middle schoolers on, there's some great graveyard cemeteries, old cemeteries in Athens County, and he works with middle schoolers.
I just went to
history.
a show at the People's Bank Theater. It was Straight No Chaser,
Yeah.
and they were talking about how Marietta has so much stuff about dead people. Like,
Yeah, we sure
like
do.
The graveyards
Mhm.
and that store on Front Street, Dead People Stuff,
Yeah.
and they were kind of making a joke about that a little bit.
Yeah.
But Marietta has like a lot of history.
Yeah. It's really incredible, to think that, Meriwether Lewis visited. We're part of the Lewis and Clark Trail. The Lewis and Clark Trail doesn't just start in St. Louis and go the rest of the way. Our Marietta is on the Lewis and Clark Trail. Lafayette visited. All of these folks that were there, and all this really important history that happened literally right where we're standing.
Yes, and Marietta is named after Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, it was named for Marie Antoinette.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to honor her.
Yes, so that's I was like, I think that's a fact I know about.
That was a Jeopardy question once, a long time ago.
Oh, was it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So, has there ever been a time in your career where things were like really challenging and it was like hard to navigate? And if there was, how did you kind of get through that?
Sure. What's coming to mind was that, I worked so hard to be a teacher and a good teacher, and I worked with a really special population that not a lot of people are willing to go into the room with the kids with the behavior issues and stick around. And when I decided I was not going to go back to teaching, that was really hard, because I had my bachelor's. I technically had 2 master's degrees, both in elementary and special education at that point in that. And so, thinking, am I going to be, am I throwing away this education? What am I going to do next? Then along the way, seeing these other opportunities for me to use those same skills in a different way was really rewarding. But yeah, it is difficult sometimes when you have to just like stop something, even though you can see it still happening. It's not like I was moving away. I was still living in the community, and I still knew a lot of the students I was working with. I would see them in the community, but to step away from that and start something new was definitely.
That probably took a lot of courage,
I suppose, yeah. And I know, looking back on it now, it was 22 years ago. Yeah, looking back on that now, but I see that was what opened the doors to other opportunities. Because sometimes they're not going to open for you until you let something else go. You have to let it go and say, okay, I'm not doing that, and then the things start to reveal themselves.
Yes, and it seems like you really enjoy it, and
Oh, I do.
yes, and we appreciate you coming on and talking to us. I've told several of the women, it would be easy for you to, kind of give us the cold shoulder and, not fiddle with us, because people don't like being on camera.
Yeah, well, I'm not loving that right now. But no, but and thank you for doing this, because hopefully someone will interview you. We'll flip seats one day.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. Let me go back. I was looking when you emailed me. I was like, and you sent me the link. I thought, okay, let me start watching. And I saw so many great women who I know. It was Marilyn Pasquarelli your very first?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know
she was my
Marilyn.
guinea pig.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then you had Cheryl McHugh. We went to high school together.
Did you really?
Yeah, and Heather McCarter is a dear friend.
Oh.
Our lives intersect in so many different ways since we were young.
Yeah.
And so first of all, that gave me pause to be like, oh, we're the grown-ups now.
You're the cool girls.
Oh, we're the cool girls. I didn't think
Yeah.
about that. I was just thinking of the responsibility and the grown-upness, but to see how when you're still as an adult making your life in the town that you grew up in, there's challenges to that, right?
Yeah.
And but the gifts of that, when maybe you went to elementary school with somebody, Heather McCarter and I we went to DeSales Heights together. She was a year ahead of me, and that's not me saying she's older than me, but we're not in the same class. And then we danced together at Trader Youth Ballet, and then her niece was in my daughter's class, and she's cared for me. Her dad and brother cared for me. Her mom was overnight in the hospital when I had my children.
Mm.
She was working on the floor. So it just really is incredible sometimes when you can look back and see all of these important parts of your life that these other women were there for you, and that in different ways, and we're all living different ways. And if you went back to the 1980s or 90s and told us where some of us would be today, we'd be like,
We'd be on a podcast.
We'd be on a
WTAP.
podcast? You're watching each other?
What?
Yeah.
Huh? So did you go to PHS? No, you went to Catholic?
I went to Parkersburg Catholic, yeah. I went to DeSales Heights
okay.
for elementary school. My mom worked at St. Joe's Hospital, and so it was right next door. So yeah, I went there from when I was very little through 6th grade, and then on to Parkersburg Catholic. So.
Oh, okay. And then your undergrad, was that in?
Miami University. I did my bachelor's in
okay.
special education at Miami.
Okay.
Back in the 1900s. And then I got the master's degree in education from Muskingum, and then I got a second master's degree in strategic public relations from George Washington. So that's when I was doing all the consulting and stuff.
So are you from Parkersburg? Or?
Well, my parents live in Belpre.
Okay.
So it's same house
Mm-hmm.
we've been in for a while.
Oh.
And now I live in Parkersburg, but my husband's
okay.
from Marietta as
Oh,
well.
okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
we're all right there
Now,
together.
did you move away for a while from the area and then come back? Or have
Just
you
a
always-
little bit. So
Mhm.
I, for college, I was at Miami and I was teaching. So it was, I ended up teaching in Cincinnati for 3 years.
Okay.
Taught at the Children's Home of Cincinnati.
Mm.
And then when my husband and I decided to get married, we decided that we wanted to make our family here. It was really important for us when we did have kids that they knew their families, they knew their grandparents, they knew their aunts and uncles.
Yeah.
And one of those special things we were talking with our kids not long ago, not only, do they know that when they go out in public, they can't be acting the fool because you never know who you're related to, but also they really got to know their classmates and their friends' grandparents. That does not happen. That kind of, it's like the beautiful part of Appalachian culture, I think, is that multi-generational things that my kids know, kids that I went to high school with, and then our kids went to school together, and those little kids know the grandparents. We all know each other, and that's kind of the beautiful part of social media to me is, the people, the moms and dads and grandparents that were my kids' fans when they were growing up, that were always wanted to see what they were doing. They're still following them now on social media and asking us how they're doing and looking at the pictures and videos. And I just think that's really beautiful and special and unique, and it doesn't happen everywhere. It doesn't happen to everyone.
Yeah, it's great to be close to your family. You really can't, as long as you like them, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there's some days.
Keyword, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you're saying you liked museums. I
Yeah.
guess besides your own, what's your favorite?
Oh my gosh. So many. I'm also a habitual museum membership person. So if I get into before we go, I'll, look it up and I want to be a member there so I can get their emails and things. Some of the greatest museums I've been to. Let's start with the smallest. Have you ever been to the Pencil Sharpener Museum in Hocking Hills
No.
and Logan. It's just a teeny tiny little room. I mean, smaller.
The pencil
smaller than this.
sharpener?
Yes, it's in Hocking Hills in a visitor center.
Oh, okay.
Have to check that out.
Oh, okay.
And then I also love, some of the big museums. So our oldest daughter just graduated from college in Boston, so we hit all of those. The Gardner Museum, Isabella Stewart Gardner.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to go if you've ever seen the documentary.
Yeah, I went there.
It's
That room with what was the jasmine or whatever, and that garden.
Yes, 3 stories. Yeah.
Oh, it smelled so good in there.
Yeah. So, and Chicago, I love the Art Institute of Chicago, but I also I just went to a history leadership seminar for 2 weeks in Minneapolis, and I chose to drive so I could go see the Mississippi River Museum, which is in Dubuque. I figure if I'm in charge of the Ohio River Museum, maybe I should see the Mississippi River Museum.
Yeah.
So they have a great aquarium there as well. And then also just some places, before my seminar started, I went to Paisley Park, which is Prince's studios.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh.
And it is a museum. So it's exactly the way it was the day that he died. And so they lead you through. Oh, yeah. Well, when you walk in, there's a very tall security guard who asks you what time what's your tour time. I told him 2:30 or whatever.
Yeah.
And he goes, turn off your phone. You have to turn off your phone, and they put it into a little, you don't get to take any pictures until the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, though, because it keeps you in that place.
Yeah.
And then there's also, when I was in Minneapolis, the George Floyd and the Alex Preddy memorials. I think a museum can be anything from some cool pencil sharpeners or a collection that someone has to, these priceless works of art. I think everything's priceless, really.
Yeah, there was a little one-room schoolhouse, in Quietdale, and it was just a little, little museum. But yeah, it's interesting, how they can be kind of, small all the way to. I want to go out to, volcano, Mount Wood.
Yeah.
They have a little museum, and they have the thing in miniature.
Oh, people love those.
I love that stuff.
People love those. People love those, and they love maps. People love maps, especially if it looks like something that they know.
Right.
And they like to touch a map and see where things were, where they are now. Any kind of at the Mystic Seaport Museum in Mystic, Connecticut, they have a giant diorama. Fills the whole building.
Oh, really?
And you can, and it's dark in there, and you can do things that lights up different things. It's very cool.
Oh, yeah.
So I just love that a museum can be a museum, and I love being the educator. I like being able to just learn without taking a test. I think a lot of times people will come out of our museum and say, well, why didn't I learn that in school? Well, maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but this gave you the opportunity to make that connection, and you can keep learning your whole life, right?
Yes.
Just
you
go to
those
a museum.
Wrinkles in your brain.
That's right. Yeah. Read a book and read some of the labels. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think when you take that pressure off of getting graded, maybe people like it or are more open to it a little bit. Have you been to the portrait gallery in DC?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I enjoyed that.
Well, in the National Gallery of Art, I love an outdoor sculpture garden. I just, art on a super huge scale is incredible to me.
Yeah.
And I think I know we try to delineate museums in this country. It's an art museum or a history museum or a science or a children's or whatever. I mean, if it's a good history museum, it's got good art in it. And if it's a good art museum, you're learning the history of whatever it is that you're looking at.
Right.
So, I enjoy a portrait gallery or something where there's things that are similar enough, but you can see change over time and see how
different styles.
Yeah.
There was my friend and I went to Boston, and we went to that's Harvard. No, is it? It's not Harvard, is it? What?
Yeah, Harvard's in Cambridge.
Harvard?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we went to this museum. They had glass flowers.
Harvard has a bunch of these little niche museums on campus. Yeah, I've not been to that one.
But I was more interested in, they had all these different kinds of birds, every species of bird you could think of. Yeah, they were I don't think they were real, but I don't think they were stuffed, but yeah.
They might have been.
Maybe. But I just couldn't believe how many different types of birds there were.
Yeah.
I just nerded out for.
Yeah, I know. That's a great thing to do, isn't it?
I just couldn't believe. I just couldn't believe it.
You should, in the basement of the Art Institute in Chicago, it's called Tiny Rooms. There's a woman who I'm currently fascinated with women from post-Civil War through the early 1900s who were what today would be billionaires. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
And what they did with their money. And there's a woman who created all of these miniature rooms, like American rooms, some Asian rooms, based in different years.
Really?
Yeah. So it looks like a room of a house, and you're looking into like a window in the wall, and it's 3-dimensional, and you see all these things. You got to check that one out. But it's in the basement. It's in the basement, and they also used to have a paperweight room in the basement of the Art Institute. Yeah, that gets you. I mean, they have all of these big paintings and Ferris Bueller references and all, armor and things of that nature. But then if you get into the basement sometimes.
Do you like fashion? Like,
I do.
Like
I do.
Not costumes, but I guess like,
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw one of like the first ladies, like a thing
wow.
they kind of like worn. Yeah, I feel like if you can find a topic that you're interested in at a museum, you can really get lost.
Yes.
So
sometimes it's nice too to just not even know.
Yeah,
just kind of walk in. We get that a lot at Campus Martius. We'll get a group of 4 or 5 people, and one person really wanted to be there. Like, this is their bucket list. They're coming to Marietta and doing that. Yeah. And one person's like, oh, I'm kind of interested. And then usually there's 2 or 3 people that are just along for the ride, and maybe they get to pick dinner or whatever. They're going to ride the Valley Gem and be in the front. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they choose that. So, but it's great to just sometimes see those folks just like, I'm just here. Whatever. And then by the time they leave, they've learned a little something, or they're asking us questions.
They're nerding out a little bit. Yeah. Now, your other museum, the
Ohio River Museum.
Yeah, it got a little bit of different flavor?
Yeah, so the interpretation of Campus Martius is very much the Northwest Ordinance, Northwest Territory. The Ohio River Museum, we did some new interpretation a few years ago, so we brought in a lot of local community members, pretty diverse group. We did some Zoom calls, we did some one-on-one visits, we did some group work, and we basically said, if you were going to the Ohio River Museum, what would you expect to see? And we came out of that couple of months of that interpretive planning with some really great and grand ideas, and a lot of them kind of came down to an either or, a yin-yang. So, the river provides us nourishment and water for our needs, our physical needs, but when it floods, it can take all of that away. And if there's a drought, well, it's not going to be able to help us as much. The river being the separation between enslavement and freedom, but also being the way to sell people down the river, and the movement of Native Americans, the push was used, the rivers were used for that. So the interpretation, you're going to see a lot of that. So we're just getting started on exhibit planning.
Oh, okay.
I don't know when this is going to end up on the website, but we're just getting started on that.
Yeah.
And that will come from the interpretive planning that we did. So, more to come. We'll come see me.
Yes.
Before we open.
We'll have
the
a story.
Yes.
Yes. I'm double dipping here. I'm getting story ideas and And that's great that they're just so, like, you could go to one museum and then pop over to the other one. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We do get that sometimes, but we also get a lot of people who are only interested in one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, they're niche.
Yeah, they're not, I'm not interested in the other one. We're like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, because probably one of the biggest challenges for us is that we serve local community and we serve literally people worldwide. And across the United States. And so when we create our programming, that's really for the local folks. But when it comes to our visitorship, other than school groups, it's mostly people from far away. So we're not always serving the same people all the time, all day long. And that means we have to be thinking of all of those different perspectives.
Is there a cost to get into the museum?
Sure, yeah. At Campus Martius, it's $10 for adults, just a flat rate, and then $5 for veterans and youth, students. Children under 5 are free. Our members are free. Ohio History Connection members are free, but we also offer to Blue Star families, so active duty military families.
Oh, okay.
There's a museum. It's called Blue Star Museums program, and it's usually Memorial Day to Labor Day, but we thought that was kind of ridiculous. So we offer that year-round to active duty military families. Free admission to them as well. Currently, right now, the state of Ohio is offering free admission to most museums for 4th grade students. It's called the 4th grade History Pass.
Really?
And so 4th graders can come for free right now. I think for a while, I don't know, again, when this is going to air, but they can also bring a parent and their family as well for free.
Great. And
That's
then
funded.
I know you're open 7 days a week. What are your hours?
Monday through Saturday, 9:30 to 5. Sundays, noon to 5. And federal holidays, noon to 5. We close the front door, though. We lock the front door at 4:30. So if you're coming in, just darting into the gift shop or something, you got to get there before 4:30. It's a pretty big building, and we need to keep everybody safe as we're
get
closing
those
up.
three
Yeah,
floors,
it is. There's people who get lost a lot, so sometimes we got to
sure.
go find where they are in the building. But our gift shop is open year round without, you don't have to pay to shop in a gift shop. We've got some great books in there.
Some merch. Everybody loves good merch.
We have raccoon caps. We have bonnets. We have really great, we have postcards and, Marietta ornaments and magnets and things like that, mugs, the things that sometimes people want to buy as gifts.
Right.
We have.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, Erin, is there anything else you'd like to add? I know we covered
I don't
a
know.
lot. We've
I
been
don't
talking
know.
for about 40 minutes.
Oh.
So, yeah. Yeah. Pretty painless.
Is that too long?
No, it's great. That was great. I love somebody that'll talk. There's nothing worse than
I'm sure.
trying to do an interview with somebody who is just like
staring at you.
yeah.
Not that.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what?
Well, that's not me. If anyone's made it this far, you know that's not me.
Yeah, we'll have to have you on again at some point when I run out of women to.
Yeah, you just bring her back. Erin's got
Erin
more to talk
back.
about. Who's she got?
We'll talk about the museums.
Just, ask her what she did last Tuesday.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, is there anything else you'd like?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
You
I think-
poor
I
thing.
think
I'm
we-
sorry.
I think we covered it all.
Next time I ask you questions.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you need to be
okay,
interviewed for
okay,
this. Really,
we'll switch
it's
it
important,
around.
and it's important to our. You're from the area as well, right?
Yeah,
It's important to
yeah.
the young girls of our area to know.
Yeah, it was so funny. Well, you know that big warehouse fire going on in
I don't think I've
our-
heard of that.
we haven't been talking about it. But I was like, somebody was mentioning IEI, and I was
Yeah.
like, I was here. Like, I was anchoring. I'm not
Yeah.
like, what's
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was kind of a interesting moment for me
Sure.
today, to be like,
Yeah,
I know that
to
fire.
connect it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was here with all of everyone else breathing in.
Yeah, the orange.
Yeah, I had the N95 mask,
Yeah.
but yeah. So, well, thank you, Erin. I really
Yeah.
appreciate your time.
Well,
and
thank you.
I will see you all next time on Women of the MOV.